Bianchi. I am so excited to be here and talk to you about some of our upcoming classes at the school, as well as the importance of the project management certification class. So, if you have been someone who is thinking of a certification, but really aren't sure which one to select, which one is best for your career path, or maybe you're considering the PMP certification, but just aren't sure if you qualify for it, what the exam process is like, or if you have questions about just the exam itself. I have to tell you that the world of certifications is vast. There's so much information out there about certifications, how to obtain them. And of course, you have so many schools and training organizations to pick from. So I know that when we Google things or information about classes and courses, it can be very overwhelming. So part of this live is to make sure that at least I can bring you information that's clear, concise, and you can engage with me here through the live and ask your questions. And as you ask your questions, I'll be able to help provide guidance and support as much as I can. But if I can't help or answer your questions, I can always refer you to someone who can. So first of all, I did want to talk about what are those certifications that you should be thinking about in terms of increasing your earning potential and also being able to really market yourself out there for a new job or a job where you can get accelerate to a more promoted job or be able to change your title, whatever that may be. So it is important that as career professionals, we take a moment and do a full analysis of our backgrounds, our experience, the certifications, and the degrees that you currently have. Because if you don't make that analysis of what your track record has been in terms of your experience, then what ends up happening is you choose a certification or a degree that doesn't really align with the next steps of your career. And that's how people spend thousands of dollars on courses and training where they're really not seeing the ROI. If that has happened to you, then just know that it is something that's very normal because if you don't have someone that is mentoring you or coaching you, it can be very easy for us to kind of fall in the trap of the trend, right? Like what's trending right now in terms of certifications. So here are my tips for you. If you're someone who says, you know what, I think it's time for me to get a new certification or I want to increase my value in the job market, but how do I select the best certification for me? So the most important part of it is you do want to look at your experience. Is it in IT? Is it in project management? And what specific industry have you worked in, right? If it's in health care, then you might be considering different types of certifications. If it's software development, then what certifications would that be? And also, what I'll talk about is some of those general certifications that you can never go wrong with. And thirdly, that there is a point as career professionals where we kind of just have to stop with the additional learning and certifications, right? I think you know what I'm talking about. There's times where those acronyms add up after our names, and we're kind of like, at what point do I stop? So there can be an addiction to learning, but as long as you're making your learning targeted to your industry, then that's how you're going to reap most of the benefits. So let's talk about certifications out there. And I'll pick the three industries that I am very much familiar with. There are many other industries out there, but I'm just not an expert in it. So I'm going to refrain from addressing those. Now, if you have specific questions for your industry, I might be able to kind of hook you up with one of my individuals in the network, one of my good friends or former colleagues that may be able to give you some direction. In terms of the IT world right now, and I'm going to talk about software development, IT management of projects, and so on, the big trend is if you work for the federal government, right now, the federal government is really looking to become more agile, lean, really take some of the processes that aren't align them, remove waste. Because when we remove waste, what are we doing? We're actually saving money, and also making sure that our resources are aligned properly to the right project and are doing the right work. So when it comes to that, the Scaled Agile Framework Enterprise, any of those certifications through Scaled Agile is really going to help you in understanding how to make projects, programs, portfolios more lean. And like I said, the federal government is really taking SAFE, and applying the processes and the concepts such as PI planning, product owner, Scrum Master certifications. They have all of those. So if your experience is in government contracting and you're trying to make an impact on those projects, definitely check out SAFE Enterprise, and that's SAFE. And if you go on their website, you'll be able to find all of their certifications. Also on the 3T website, we offer some of the SAFE certifications as well through a vendor, so you can check that out. Now, if you are in more of a private industry sector, but doing IT work, software development or managing IT projects or IT PMOs, then my recommendation would be to look at the Scrum Alliance IT Agile certifications. Their Scrum Master, their Product Owner, they have a list of them that might be really helpful for you. And so Scrum Alliance really focuses on the project itself, the product that you're delivering at the moment in time. And so it really gives you the processes and methodologies and making sure that you're effectively and efficiently running projects. So again, that there's removal of waste and that you are aware of impediments, obstacles, roadblocks immediately instead of a week later. How amazing would that be? So the difference between SAFE and Scrum Alliance is that SAFE is more enterprise level agile, right? From top down, really the organization is behind ensuring that from top down, they become more agile. Whereas Scrum Alliance, I would say, is more of on the project level and making sure that your project is agile and that you deliver your product with the most value upfront to your customers. So those are two very popular certifications in those two areas. Now, if you are someone who says, you know what, I want to enter these different industries, IT, federal government, whatever it may be, look, it's not going to hurt you to get a Scrum Master certification from SAFE or from Scrum Alliance. But you just want to look at your experience and background to say, am I even going to work on agile projects? Or do research on the companies that you are applying for jobs. Are they really looking for people who have the knowledge of agile, right? And so do your due diligence and understanding what the needs are out there for your specific industry and the job titles so that you're not wasting your time. Additional general certifications that would be helpful, it would be an asset to your resume, would be getting a quality management certificate. Understanding quality management is so important because really, all in all, everything that we deliver has to be of quality before our customers even touch it. The worst thing that can ever happen is that you give a product or a deliverable to your customer and they find your errors. That's a definite no-no. Like, you'd never want to go through that at all. So therefore, someone who comes in with understanding quality management processes, understanding how to control quality, how to manage quality, and if you can take that knowledge and you can then apply it to international standards like ISO 9000s or CMMI, DEV. So there's so many different international standards out there where quality management certificates or fundamental certifications can align with that. You can add to that knowledge and become a quality expert. Again, that would be a general certification. The other certification that is really popular that also deals with quality is your Six Sigma certifications. And they have different colors of belts, black belt, I believe yellow, and then green, if I'm not wrong. But there are different levels where you can be a quality expert. And part of quality means removing waste of process, of whatever it is, so that you're saving time, money, so that you don't have to rework your deliverables, that you don't have scraps. I mean, if you think about, there's projects out there, millions of dollars is wasted on products that just aren't of quality. And guess what? That is on the organization. That is sunk cost that they just have to accept, because they can't recoup that money. So think about you coming in, having this knowledge of quality management, and being able to really help your organization remove wastage, have a process, have quality checklists in place, have quality control processes in place, where you're actually helping them. You're going to be a true asset there. And even if you're someone who's looking to interview for a job in quality management, then you're going to build on your vocab, on your lexicon, on words of where you will now be able to speak the same business language. So when you are being interviewed, you can clearly connect with the interviewer by using specific words as it deals with quality management, project management, and what that really looks like. So that's really another important aspect of getting the right certifications, where you have the experience, because then it's a matter of just connecting the dots, and you've already increased your market value. The third and my favorite certification is the PMP certification. I absolutely stand behind PMI and PMP for PMI for actually having such an amazing certification as the project management professional certification. And so if you're thinking to yourself, I don't think that I'm aligned with the PMP, I want you to pause for a moment. And if you're watching this, I would love to answer your questions regarding really all certifications that I've covered, but specifically the PMP. And here's why I recommend the PMP really for anyone in any industry with any kind of background, because the PMP certification is your general certification that can be applied to any project, really. And if you think about what a project is, the definition of a project is something that has a product, service, or result that has a beginning and a start date and a finish date, excuse me. So if you look at that very specific definition and we look around, we know that really we are continuously working on projects, whether that is in our private lives or organizations, departments. Really, there are projects everywhere in every part of what we do. So the PMP certification, what it allows you to do is to really learn how to manage a project from start to finish, and making sure that you're delivering value early to your customer, and that they're recognizing that there's value in what you're delivering. That means understanding what the scope of the project is, being able to prioritize the requirements. And one of the greatest things about the PMP now since the update is that they have included Agile. So the combination of the two is amazing, because you really get to work on some of the requirements that you know upfront, and whatever you don't know, as the project continues, you can go ahead and build your backlog based on the requirements that you do find out. But the PMP certification teaches you about project integration, scope, risk, quality, stakeholder management, procurement management, communications. So you learn about really every aspect of managing a project, where there are literally individual certifications for each of the knowledge areas within the PMP that you can get from an outside vendor. But a PMP certification covers really the 10 main knowledge areas as it entails to managing a project. So I know I talk a lot about the PMP, but it is because there's so much value out there for it. And organizations today, anyone who's looking to apply for a PMP certificate, for a project manager role, the PMP is a requirement. So you can't really get away from it, especially if you are someone who's worked on projects. It's becoming mandatory to have the PMP. It's either part of the requirement or you're being asked to kind of provide it 6 months later after your employment. So the demand and the need for it has increased so much right now. And I hope people don't hate me for saying this, but honestly, it's becoming more, you'll see it as a requirement more than an MBA. Higher education, and the investment in it is not as much as a higher education degree would be. I have an MBA myself, but I always tell people, get your PMP first, make the 20 to 30% more a year, and then go and get that MBA, because then it'll pay for it. You can pay for it, right? Because you've gotten your salary increase. A lot of the certifications, I would have to say the Scrum Alliance and the Scaled Agile Framework certifications, they don't have a lot of prerequisites. So you could start with their lower level or product owner certification, leading safe. Some of them don't have a hard prerequisite. So double check those if you're interested in those certifications. But the PMP, on the other hand, does have certain requirements that you have to meet. So if you don't know whether you meet the requirements for it, I do have a very detailed PMP information session coming up actually next week that you don't want to miss. You can just go to 3tinstitute.com/events, and you can sign up for that there. And then you can join that information session so that you can get very specific information about requirements for the PMP, the actual training, the application process, and exam prep, if that is something you're interested in. For those that watch, thank you so much. For those that are watching after the live, let me know if you have any questions. We continuously monitor all of our social platforms to make sure that we're getting back to you and to your questions. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you guys later.